What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast pregame show. I'm here with Sterling Holmes, Adam Best. My name is Matt Connor. How are you guys doing tonight?
I got a beer. The
Yeah.
Broncos Raiders was a disaster. The Vikings all of a sudden fell off the face of the earth. The Bills looked beatable. And I'm drinking beer. Chiefs are about to play. Life is good.
Life is good. Adam, how you feeling?
Pretty good. It was an ugly day of football, but the good news there is that the Chiefs have the chance to prove tonight that they are the only consistently great team in the entire league at this moment. And I have a feeling they're going to do it.
Well, we have a lot to talk about here. We're going to break down who's in, who's out tonight. We're going to break down what's at stake for both teams. For those of you who are here looking for Matt Verderam, Patrick Allen, just know they'll be back with you at halftime and in the postgame show. But before we do, we also have some other friends with us, our friends at KC Beer. I'm drinking it tonight. Sterling, are you drinking it?
Oh, yeah. I got the Hefeweizen right now. Nice banana notes. I'm not going to lie. Casey Beer Co., they are our sponsors, but I like to give them extra love because they are that good. Casey Beer Company brews their beer with only 4 ingredients based on the German purity laws of 1516. I'm telling you guys right now, if you've not tried Casey Beer Co., if you live in the Missouri or Kansas area, go out and get some. You will not be disappointed. Casey Beer Co., dare to beer different.
Before we get into anything here with Chiefs and Chargers, 2 in the weeds, and there's a lot to talk about. There's also a little bit of time left for you to get your bets in, by the way. Our pals at DraftKings have a deal for you, for all of us, if you squeeze it in tonight. Adam, you got some details for us.
Yeah, this is quite a read, so hang with us. Hey, guys, we're passing along this awesome promo for new DraftKings customers. Win $200 in free bets if the Chiefs beat the Chargers this weekend. All you need to do, enter the code Arrowhead, that's one word, at sign up and then place a $5 bet on the Chiefs. This offer ends this week, so go get your bets in before kickoff. Using our promo code Arrowhead is a great way to support Arrowhead Addict. We get a small fee from DraftKings for each new bettor that uses our code. So if you don't yet have a DraftKings account, do us a solid and sign up with code Arrowhead and place that $5 bet. Just like we want to get paid, we want you to get paid. And we like DraftKings because you get paid fast and securely. This promotion is only available for a few days, so don't wait. New customers only, 21 plus and present in select states. See full terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credits. Gambling problem, call, text 1-800-GAMBLER. Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Wyoming, 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. New York, 8. Man,
I got you. All right. 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Colorado. 888-789-7777, Connecticut. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-877-770-STOP. 7867, Louisiana. Call text TN REDLINE 1-800-889-9789, Tennessee, or 1-888-532-3500, Virginia.
Saved by the Micro Machines guy. Holy
Thank
shit.
you. By the way, do all things responsibly, including watching bad AFC West football responsibly. When they went to overtime, I was like, good God, someone just stop this.
Put us out of our misery, right?
He is horrible, horrible. Let's talk good AFC West football. We have a real showdown tonight on the road for the Chiefs with quite a bit at stake for really both teams. Adam, I'd love to start with you here. And just, I want to focus on, there's nothing more dangerous than when someone is in dire straits, the whole proverbial backs against the wall can really bring out something greater than the sum of its parts at times. The Chargers are kind of in that space right now. How do you think that factors into what's going on or how you think about the game tonight?
I think it's huge. They're a wounded animal, and they really need this game much more than the Chiefs need this game. I think it's important for the Chiefs too. The Chiefs need to stay a game up on the rest of the conference, so it's not meaningless for them. And they have the chance to kind of close out the AFC West tonight. But the Chargers had more of a slow start. And if they're going to win the AFC West, this is a must-win game. So they've got a very good quarterback. He hasn't played up to par so far this year. I don't know if that's because of injuries or his lack of receiving options. Both of those guys back tonight. We'll see how healthy they are. Yeah. Keenan Allen is on a snap count, right? When I hear snap count or pitch count, I think it goes one of two ways. One, he's a decoy, or two, he looks good, and they just say, just keep playing. So we'll see what we get from Keenan Allen. But they're a dangerous opponent who they always play the Chiefs well. I mean, that goes back to pre-Herbert, but even Herbert's first game when they had the Tyrod Taylor mishap. And he had to come in, hey, there's 10 minutes before the kickoff. Justin, you feel good about starting this? Yeah. And he went out there and rocked it. So I know these divisional games always get a little bit silly. The Chargers play us tough. And I think they probably feel like they need this game more than we do.
Yeah. Sterling, I want to take that to you. The Chargers play tough. We always know that. They're getting some key guys back. The desperation angle. How worried are you? What's your thought on that as a package?
Well, yeah, the desperation angle is huge. They right now, if the season were to end, are out of the playoffs. They're in the 9th spot as of today. With the Patriots win, that put the Patriots into the 6th spot, Bengals in the 7, and Jets even above the LA Chargers. So the Chargers, they have their work cut out for them. They need to win, and they need some help. I will say they play Kansas City the way they should play every other team. They use Justin Herbert downfield. They actually throw the ball to Mike Williams. Against any other team, they're like, all right, Herbert, you're only allowed to check down and throw 5-yard out routes. They're aggressive against Kansas City. And then against other teams, Staley's like, no, guys, 4th and 1 of the 40. We got to punt that ball. So they come out with some aggression against the Chiefs. They play the way they're supposed to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. Am I nervous? A little bit. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs are a better team. The Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. They're better coached. They were able to run the ball with Isaiah Pacheco, and the Chargers have been a sieve to teams on the ground. If the offensive line plays the way they did the past 2 weeks, I really like what Kansas City could do in this game.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. KC dominated in the trenches in the last time we saw them. We were all giving post-game kudos to an offensive line that had taken their licks. The defensive line looked good with the pass rush. How do you think they stack up in this game against the Chargers? I'll throw this one up for grabs. Anyone want to take it?
Well, their left tackle's out and Joey Bosa's out. Yeah. So they're already starting arguably their best 2 players down. And the Chiefs are, with Frank Clark back, they pretty much have both units about as close to full strength as you can get at this time of the season. So I think that's a big advantage for the Chiefs. Now, Khalil Mack is a problem. We have to account for him. But outside of that, I think this is one of the places where the Chiefs have the biggest advantage in this entire game.
They should have the biggest advantage in this game, but we've also seen the Chiefs play up and down to competition, especially with the offense and defensive lines. In the past, it's always been like, the Chiefs should dominate this game in the trenches. Well, they don't. The games they have dominated in the trenches, the Buccaneers game, I would say last week against the Jaguars, they probably should have. But my point is, I'm taking nothing for granted. It's been a up and down roller coaster ride with Orlando Brown Jr., with Andrew Wiley, with, to an extent, Trey Smith, who I think has been playing through injury most of the year, but that's no excuse. It's been an up and down ride there. Defensive line, 5 sacks last week. Well, if they play like that, they'll have their way. If they don't, and we see another, where's Frank Clark? What's Mike Dana doing? Those are the type of games that can bite you. You have to get pressure on Herbert. You have to.
I'm glad you brought up Frank Clark, and John F. in the comments just said, Frank's really not a big upgrade in his opinion. I wonder about your opinions there on what Frank adds to the mix, because if I recall correctly, Frank looked really good on his way out toward the suspension, right? He put up a really nice game right before he had to serve 2 games out. It could even be a good thing for him to get a little bit of midseason rest. The Chiefs were still able to win without him, and even create some developmental reps for some other guys maybe. Are you expecting to see sort of a rejuvenated? Frank pick him back up where he did a few weeks ago? What's your opinion on what he adds, or are you kind of shrugging at that?
Whew. Prognosticating on which Frank you're going to get.
Yeah,
it's never a good idea. But I will say a lot of the issue with him has been his body just not being right.
yeah.
So a 2-game hiatus should help in that regard. And when Frank is healthy and engaged, he can make somewhat of a difference. We saw that, for instance, in the 49ers game, right? So I'm hoping we have a rejuvenated Frank, a Frank that's healthy down the stretch, and that this 2-game suspension ends up being kind of a silver lining for the Chiefs.
Dunlap's been better. I mean, let's be real here. Frank Clark is having a fine season, but we're all using the prefaces, fine for Frank Clark. No one's out here saying, yeah, Frank Clark's having a great season. It's Frank Clark's having a good season for what he's done the past couple seasons. Carlos Dunlap was a fact in the past couple of games. I like him getting more involved. George Karlaftis, even though he's not getting a ton of sacks, he's getting the pressures. He's affecting the quarterback. He's batting balls down. If Frank Clark comes in and is effective in limited snaps, hooray, I'm happy. But I'm not expecting Frank Clark to come out and get 1.5, 2.5 sacks this game. I'm just not expecting that.
You're saying that Carlos has done lapped him on the roster? Is that what you're saying? Sorry, I couldn't avoid that. Hey, so I want to talk about the most important factor, but before we do, we'd be remiss if we didn't tell all of you listening, commenters who are there, first of all, get a good look at Sterling's puppy. By the way, we heard him talking about his puppy earlier, and his voice raised like 2 octaves. Sterling
Richard was supposed to mute me, okay? Every time I walk away from the screen, that's on me.
Sorry about that. But folks, we want to invite you to join us. We're having our first ever Arrowhead Addict live post-game, pre-game show. We're going to KC, folks. We're going to be hanging out at Tanner's Bar and Grill in Kansas City. We're throwing a watch party for Sunday Night Football when the Chiefs are on the road on December 11th at Denver. It should be a great lopsided game to just drink and have a lot of fun. We're stoked. All of us are going to be there. We're stoked to hang out and actually meet a lot of you if you want. All of the details, arrowheadaddicts.com/events. Our friends at KC Beer are going to be there. There's going to be prizes, raffle, giveaways. The first 50 people through the door are going to get an automatic prize. It's just going to be a great night. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll be doing 2, like our pregame and our postgame show live on site. So anyway, again, head over to arrowheadaddicts.com/events. Come check us out. Come hang out if you're in the region. We'd love to see you. When it comes to tonight's game, guys, there's really one thing that matters the most, and that's the most important position on the field. Mahomes looks like he's the favorite for MVP. And Adam, you brought up the way that Justin Herbert has faded a bit this season. When you go back to that first game between these two teams, Herbert took that crazy shot to the ribs, and then the Chargers never really took him off the field, even in that game and in ensuing games. I guess I just wonder, like, what do you make of the matchup at this point in the season? What do you make of the year that Herbert's having? Like, what's the disparity between these two at this point, and is that unfair to Herbert, yes or no?
A little bit unfair. It's a bit of a mystery how his season has gone. I think it was a real head scratcher that they kept him in that game, and especially they had him play the next week. I think when you have a franchise cornerstone like that, you don't take any chances, right? But he hasn't looked like himself this year. Part of that is, like I said, surrounding talent. Part of that might be the injury, but he's 20th in EPA per play. He's 23rd in success rate. Mahomes is 2nd and 3rd in those metrics, respectively. So there's a pretty big chasm between these two dudes. And I guess tonight we'll find out how much of that has been surrounding talent and how much of that is just the talent of the quarterbacks and where they are right now. I will say about Herbert that I think he and offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, they sort of bring out the worst in each other. Neither one of them is a really aggressive gunslinger type. right? They both have some dink and dunk in their DNA. So I think they have actively been sort of bad for each other. And the difference tonight in these two offenses, even without Juju, I think will be team speed, because the Chiefs have it in Tony. Thank God we have Tony and MVS, and they don't really have it on the other sideline. So I think that could be the difference for these two quarterbacks, both the speed they have available to them and the willingness to take shots, create out of structure, that kind of thing.
Yeah. What about the quarterbacks to you, Sterling?
Yeah, Mahomes is clearly better. Herbert, I think, is a great talent, but I think Adam put it perfectly. Him and Lombardi, they're not good together. We've seen Herbert take a step back. He looks more timid. He looks like he's trying to think too much instead of going out and actually playing. He's taken a massive step back. It just feels like everything is a check down. He hardly looks downfield. He does when they play Kansas City because they know they have to if they want to have any chance of winning. But I just don't understand what they're doing. They don't have a horrendous offensive line. Yeah, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they've been banged up a lot of this season, but I just don't get it. He has weapons. There's talent on the Chargers. We went into this year saying Chargers might have the most talent in the AFC West, top to bottom. Yes, injuries happen, but at some point you have to win ball games. You have to find a way to get it done. When do you sit here saying, yeah, Herbert just looks incredible? I've hardly said it at all this year. It's very surprising. But yeah, I do think the ribs could be hurting him a lot. We saw what happened to Drew Brees. Yes, Drew Brees was like 78 when that happened, but still, isn't that a telltale sign? Maybe sit Herbert until he's fully healthy. I don't know. That's the franchise quarterback.
Yeah, you're totally right. Let's look at the wide receiver position, and I want to go to the Chiefs here because Mecole Hardman having a good season for him for sure, and a good scoring threat in the last few games. He's now on injured reserve. Juju Smith-Schuster in concussion protocol put something on Instagram that seemed positive. He's still out, right? Marquez Valdes-Scantling is maybe injured, but healthy, playing in this and available in this one. But we're also seeing Cornell Powell go from the practice squad to the active roster today. Like he's not even inactive. He's on the active roster right now, able to be used. Are you worried about the Chiefs wide receiver core against the Chargers tonight?
You got to be a little bit worried. The way Kadarius Toney looked last week alleviates some of that concern.
Yeah.
But Juju has been a real force for this team, especially in those moments where you need a conversion. And Mecole has been super dynamic in the red zone, 6 touchdowns on the season. I think because of expectations when he came into Kansas City, sometimes we expect maybe too much for him. But for what he is, I think we've maximized his talents this year. So not having those two guys will be an issue, but number 15 makes everyone around him better. He's got that kind of Magic Johnson factor to his game. So as long as he's under center and we have some warm bodies out there, he's capable of getting a W,
It does feel like Derwin James is one of the few guys who can slow down Travis Kelce. So that is something to monitor. I do think Juju Smith-Schuster, full transparent, this is a massive loss. I mean, I think the Chiefs still win this game, but acting like Juju doesn't matter after having the season he's had would be a slight to Juju. It matters. MVS, he's got to step up. This is a guy who has not shown great consistency throughout his entire career. I like MVS. I think he sometimes gets unfairly hated on. But this is a game where he has to step up. You can't have a drop. You can't have inconsistencies. You were basically, wide receiver 1, at least on the depth chart. Kadarius Toney, I'm thrilled with Kadarius Toney. But if you want to take a little glass half full approach, he's been inconsistent throughout his entire career, including the Giants. Yeah, he's looked very good in a Chiefs uniform, but does he know the full playbook? How many snaps is he going to get? What did he get last week? It was like 5 receptions on 17 snaps. He's going to have to play more than 17 snaps this week.
I think he played 50% of snaps last week.
So then you have to count on Justin Watson, who's had a nice season. but a guy who was not brought back to the Buccaneers. You got to count on Sky Moore.
He did come up big in week 2.
Sure. No, I like all these guys in smaller roles, the roles that they've been asked to play in all season long. Who's going to step up? Who's the guy who's going to say, you know what? This is my time to shine with 2 dudes above me on the depth chart out. That's what it comes down to.
Chiefs Kingdom would sleep a lot better tonight if Sky Moore chooses this moment for his breakout. I would love to see it. Cornell Powell, maybe that's just a blocking body out there, you know, to take some snaps since he knows the playbook. That would be my thought there. But yeah, we could really use Sky Moore to come along. Better late than never, right?
Is this a run game? Is this going to be a game where Kansas City really focuses on the run? I know Andy Reid, it's not his MO, but they were effective last week. They've shown glimpses throughout Andy's entire tenure, even last year. Is this a game where they go, you know what, Isaiah Pacheco, tote the ball 22 times?
Yeah, your grandmother could run all over this defense. That's where they're susceptible, right? It's been that way for multiple years. They're, you know, softer in the middle than a jelly donut. So I say Andy, it will throw him when Andy chooses to roll with this game plan. It always throws defenses off guard because they never expect it from him. I would love to see that tonight.
I mean, they've got the maulers to do it. I mean, that's for sure. We'd love to see it. Andrew Wiley, speaking of the offensive line, went out with an injury last week, but he's in, he's active, he's no injury designation. So we should expect the same front 5 to be there and looking good. If it's going to be a run game or however you think that's going to play out, part of the storyline this week has been about Clyde's lack of touches. Do you think that continues tonight? How do you see the backfield shaking out? Or do you think, no, we'll probably see more of Clyde and it's just been sometimes you're in, sometimes you're not?
Had the Chiefs been winning, then I don't care who runs the ball.
I don't
care. Well, I don't care if it's Pacheco, Clyde, Jerick McKinnon. I don't care if it's Ronald Jones getting called up. It does not matter. The offensive line is what truly matters, in my opinion. It matters about the play call, less RPOs, and a focus, an actual mindset that you are going to run the football. They seemingly have that now, one game with Isaiah Pacheco. He hits the hole hard. The fumble was not ideal, but they gave him the ball right back, and he produced. Yeah. Go with the hot hand. If you give Pacheco 5 carries and he gets 6 yards, if he gets 7 touches for 10 yards, maybe you try Clyde, maybe you try McKinnon, but go with the hot hand. If it's working, stay with it.
Slimming a trio down to a duo last week allowed Pacheco, I think, to get in a rhythm as a rusher, and McKinnon to get in a rhythm as both a blocker and pass catcher. I think he had 6 Freudian slip there, 6 receptions last week. And Pacheco showed a lot of burst, and that is something that Clyde doesn't have in his game. I think 3 is a crowd. Stick with 2.
Yeah. Ooh, shout out to John Bierbauer. We over me. Doesn't matter who gets the carries. By the way, John, appreciate the shirt you sent me. You're a very good dude.
A shirt? You got a shirt?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you sporting it?
McHenry High School strength team, baby. Football coach. He's a good dude.
Awesome.
Nice. Let's talk about the Chargers here just real fast, because the big storyline is Keenan Allen's playing, Mike Williams is playing, but neither one of these guys have played since week 7. I mean, are you predicting a big night for either one, or do you think it's going to be a reminder of, oh yeah, wait, these guys haven't played in a month, and it showed?
Oh, I think Keenan Allen, I think he might be dust. I really do. I think this might be it for him. I could be wrong. Mike Williams, that guy's always hurt too. Always hurt. And the last time Keenan Allen tried to come back this season, which didn't make any sense, they had him do it before the bye week, he re-aggravated that injury.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if his hammy's ever going to be right this year. But we should be prepared for both guys' best, of course.
They're very talented wide receivers. They obviously have a disdain for Kansas City the same way that Chiefs fans have a disdain for those guys, right? It's the same. It goes same what's double-edged sword, same thing. I'm using a horrible analogy right now, but the point is they always seem to have great games against Kansas City. If it were me, I would like Trent McDuffie on Keenan Allen size-wise. I think Trent McDuffie going up against Mike Williams, as good as McDuffie is, that's such a height differential.
Josh Williams.
That's what I was going to say. Josh Williams on Mike Williams. Williams versus Williams. That is a matchup to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Adam, you brought this up earlier when we were talking. SoFi Stadium, known globally for its field conditions and the excellence with which they keep them, just like their medical training staff and their players. I don't think the LA Chargers have a single crew that does anything well at all in terms of organizational culture. What do you think of this field condition thing? Is it overblown? Is it underrated? Should it be a bigger talking point?
I agree with Cooper Kupp. I don't like that there's any turf in the entire league, and this is a turf stadium. It actually took Cooper Kupp last week. It took J.C. Jackson earlier in the year. It gave DK Metcalf a scare. And really, if you're looking at how the Chiefs are rolling right now, I think the only thing that can get them off the tracks would be a significant injury. Not that they can't overcome one. Remember their Super Bowl year, Mahomes missed, I guess he only missed, what was it, 2 games?
2 games.
2.5, I guess, if you count when he went out of the Denver thing. And Chris Jones was pretty banged up that year. So, but you get to this point of the season, and a lot of who makes it to the Super Bowl depends on health. The Rams and the Bengals last year were very lucky from a health standpoint, very fortunate. The year before, the Bucs really got in a roll, and they actually faced 2 teams in a row that lost their left tackle. So sometimes health can decide the outcome when all other things are close. So I just want us to escape LA with a clean bill of health tonight.
I'm knocking on wood because my dog's here, so I'm going to knock on it very quietly, but I am knocking on wood. Don't you bring that evil on us, Ricky Bobby, okay? Injuries, we don't talk about those. No.
This is therapy, man. I've got to deal with my anxiety somehow.
Yeah, okay, I get that, but we're not going to do that here, okay? I'm knocking on wood again, quietly. We're knocking on it. All right. Yeah, that's a major issue, but that's not what we want to have happen. What I want and looking out for in this game, at least, is the special teams. Special teams this year under Dave Tobe, it's been a disaster. You can't blame it all on him. Like Butker missing easy extra points, easy field goals, getting injured, then having to go through and rotate through a multitude of kickers. Sky Moore not being able to catch a punt, although I will say he kept putting him back there. That is, to an extent, on Dave Tobe. Special teams needs to step it up. You can't have Jody Fortson fumble at the end of a half. You can't be caught off guard when a team tries to kick an onside kick and then they recover it. You got to have some sort of ability to say the ball is going to go in the end zone. Don't catch it as a punt returner. Don't make this harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
The special teams needs to get it together. That cannot cost the Chiefs in this game.
Yeah.
Glass half full. Tommy Townsend has been a rock.
Correct.
That's true. He's had a real breakout sort of season. I mean, he's been really tremendous. Are you worried about Butker at all? There's something in me that just says that something's not right there. And I know he's had the yips before. I know he's missed extra points before, and he's been the same guy. I know he's been back even after taking time off for the sprain on his plant foot on that ankle. But I'm just still looking at that thinking, you don't want to say someone rushed back, but maybe there could have been more rest.
Well, I talked to Chiefs Hall of Fame kicker Nick Lowry. We do a weekly segment together, and I was talking to him. He doesn't think Butker's 100%, but if he's good enough to go, say he's 90%, the only way to get through this is to kick through it. That's what he basically says. You got to kick through it. Letting him rest, if he is that healthy, it doesn't help anyone. You got to find a way to get through it. And so I think Butker will get through. He expects a big game from Butker in SoFi. The kicking conditions, he says, are about the best possible kicking conditions for any kicker in the NFL. So he says SoFi is ideal for Butker to get right this game. So if he has a bad game out in SoFi, then I'm really going to start worrying.
Game tying extra point. I'm super nervous. Game winning 60-yarder. I'm cool as a cucumber. That's just the way that guy is, right? He's a little bit of a roller coaster, but the greater the degree of difficulty for him, the more I trust him. It's bizarre.
It's amazing how that works out that way, distance-wise. Hey, let's go around the horn real fast and get our final predictions for tonight, if you're up for it. If you'd rather not be locked into something before the game and want to leave it mystical, you can do that too. Sterling, I'll go to you. What do you think we're going to see tonight, and any other random surprise prediction, like Cornell Powell's going to have 150 yards?
No, I'll go 27-21. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring than the majority of folks believe. I think Kansas City pounds the ball on the ground. I think they do find success there. We'll see some long, extended drives. The Chiefs defense will step up. Mike Williams still going to get his touchdown. But I do think Butker comes back and has a clean game. We'll go with 2 field goals, makes all of his extra points, but 27-21 Kansas City.
Adam, what about you, brother?
I'm going 34-24 Chiefs. I think Noah Gray continues his progress and continues to be an important part of this offense. It would have been easy to go with the Tony breakout, but I'm going to go with Noah Gray, and I'm going to go with Pacheco getting his first C-note, getting his first 100-yard game. I think that is what we're going to see tonight.
I'm a big believer in desperation when a back's against the wall. I think this game's going to come down to the wire. I think the game's going to come down to a point or two. I don't know who's going to win. I do think we see Big Frank having 2 sacks tonight. I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. And,
guns blazing.
With wait till Uzi what he's going to do tonight.
How about this? If Frank Clark has 2 sacks, I'll shave my mustache. If Frank Clark doesn't have 2 sacks, you have to shave everything but your mustache.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't care enough about football to even make a bet about it. Folks, in just a few minutes, kickoff will be happening. Make sure to keep on watching for that. But just want to remind you, coming up in just 3 weeks, we will be in Kansas City, arrowheadaddict.com/events. Come hang out with us. We're going to be doing all this live. We're going to be giving away free stuff. We'll probably be buying you some free beer. KC Beer is going to be there. What's not to love? All the details are there. For Adam Best, Sterling Holmes, my name is Matt Connor. We're going to get ready for the game. We'll see you again at halftime with Matt Verderam and some other of these Rugrats. We'll see you then.